I'd like to call the February 6th, 2024 meeting of the Planning Commission meeting to order. If everyone can please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm going to move on to the roll call. Scott Hansen.
Here.
Ben Terrell.
Here.
Lisa Lewitsky. Here. Ed Kemp.
Here.
Ray Whitaker.
Here.
Tim Catron.
Here.
Zachary Dillinger. Frank Holmes.
Here.
Brian Ross.
Here.
All of the proper notices have been sent. What are everybody's wishes for the February 6th agenda?
Move the agenda.
Support. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Now we are going to open the elections for nomination of the chairperson. Nominations are now open for the office of chairperson for the Eaton County Planning Commission for 2024. Are there any nominations?
Nominate Brian Ross.
Support.
Are there any others? Brian Ross has been nominated for the office of chairperson. Are there any others?
Move to close.
Support. Roll call. Scott Hansen,
Yes.
Ben Terrell,
Yes.
Lisa Lewitsky,
Yes.
Ed Kemp,
Yes.
Ray Whitaker,
Yes.
Tim Catron,
Yes.
Frank Holmes,
Yes.
Brian Ross.
Yes.
Now going to turn the meeting over to Chairperson Ross.
Let me get that.
Yeah.
Okay, next on the agenda is nominations for vice chair. Is there anyone that would like to nominate?
I nominate Ben Terrell.
Second.
We have a motion to support. Any others?
I move that nominations be closed.
Support.
All right, we have a nomination for Ben Terrell as the vice chair. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Scott Hansen,
Yes.
Ben Terrell,
Yes.
Lisa Lewitsky,
Yes.
Ed Kemp,
Yes.
Ray Whitaker,
Yes.
Tim Catron,
Yes.
Frank Holmes,
Yes.
Brian Ross.
Yes. Okay, next is nominations are open for the office of secretary to the planning commission for 2024.
And for that, I nominate Zachary Dillinger.
We have a second on that?
Support.
We have support. Are there any others?
Then I move nominations be closed.
Support.
We have a motion support. Can we have a roll call vote?
Scott Hansen,
Yes.
Ben Terrell,
Yes.
Lisa Lewitsky,
Yes.
Ed Kemp,
Yes.
Ray Whitaker,
Yes.
Tim Catron,
Yes.
Frank Holmes,
Yes.
Brian Ross.
Yes. Okay, at this time, I'd like to hear a motion to have the elections be closed.
I so move.
Support.
Motion and support. You need a roll call vote for that? All right. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. What are your wishes with the December 5th minutes?
Move to accept the minutes.
Support.
We have a motion and support to approve the December 5th, 2023 minutes. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion carries. At this time of the agenda, we have public comments. If anyone would like to speak at this time, you have 5 minutes to speak, please. If you could say your name and address for the record for us, please.
Yes, hello, my name is Eric DeYoung. My address is 6924 Yosemite Drive, Hudsonville, Michigan. Again, my name is Eric DeYoung. I'm with Naderveld. We are a Michigan-based surveying, engineering, and land planning company. I'm here tonight on behalf of a family that owns approximately 235 acres on Cochrane Road, just north of I-69, south of the city of Charlotte. Part of this property is in Carmel Township and part is in Eaton Township. The property is illustrated on the exhibits that Brandy has distributed to you tonight. And I want to thank Randy for being receptive to communications and being helpful in having dialogue about this property. One small correction, the existing zoning exhibit, Brandy brought to my attention that a portion of that property is dual zone, so I will update the exhibit. But basically, the east portion of the Carmel Township parcel is dual zone to include the commercial zoning already. That's the existing. The future land use designation exhibit should be accurate as presented. One of the items that you've been hard at work on is the 2024 master plan, this draft of this master plan. Included in that master plan is the future land use map, which casts the community's vision for what uses are imagined for certain areas of the county. In the area just north of I-69, which I referenced and is in the exhibit, the future land use map designates the area for general business use. This designation includes a preference for large-scale regional commercial uses, including automobile-related services, restaurants, large shopping centers, and uses of that nature. This type of use seems incompatible with the surrounding agricultural area, and the family group that owns the property feels that a commercial designation isn't quite right. Instead, they feel that an industrial designation would be far more compatible with the needs and the desires of the community. We understand the surrounding communities have strong roots in agriculture, and agricultural preservation is of high importance in these areas. Placing hotels, big box stores, and restaurants next to farmland with the associated dust, noise, and odors seems out of step with an otherwise strong master plan. An industrial future land use designation for this area would be far more compatible and would better serve the community for several reasons. The Michigan Economic Development Corporation, the MEDC, the Lansing Economic Area Partnership, LEAP, and all other economic agencies in Michigan are consistently getting requests from companies who desire to locate and manufacture here but cannot find readily available land. Contiguous sites of over 100 acres are especially in demand, and there are almost no industrial zone parcels in Michigan of more than 50 acres on Class A roads and with direct access to interstates. LEAP has engaged with a record number of companies in the past year and a half, and their data show more interest in Michigan from companies than ever before, especially in the mobility sector. These companies and their jobs would serve as an economic driver for the community. The product type with particularly high demand is in high-tech manufacturing, warehousing, and distribution. As America continues to reshore manufacturing, industrial land is the most needed property type now and will be for the next few decades. These facilities are a far cry from what some might imagine as their impressions of industrial manufacturing. These are clean, highly automated facilities with extremely good working environments. The jobs modern manufacturing brings are solid, high-paying career opportunities in contrast to some of the jobs that come with strip malls and big box retail. While industrial sites do need to accommodate trucks, the site is perfectly located next to I-69, and the amount of congestion, traffic, and urban sprawl would be significantly reduced in contrast to some of the commercial uses. An industrial use for this area furthers the general goals articulated in the draft master plan itself. Goal 2 talks about focusing developments in areas with capability to support industrial development, and the subject site checks the boxes that could support industry. Goal 3 discusses the desire to preserve the county's agricultural legacy. Industrial uses are far more compatible with farming than commercial uses. Goal 5 focuses on supporting the growth of new and existing businesses and working with LEAP on business attraction. LEAP's market data is clear that businesses are most hungry for industrial opportunities, and there is an excess, a glut of supply of commercial and office uses. Goal 6 in the master plan talks about improving and updating infrastructure, including roads, utilities, and broadband connectivity. An industrial presence in this area would be a powerful catalyst for these types of improvements. In short, truck stops and big box stores, the typical commercial interchange uses, do not preserve the fabric of small towns. Modern industrial sites will be much better neighbors in the area and will serve as an economic engine for the county for years to come, supporting the historic existing downtown Charlotte rather than encouraging development and commercial sprawl away from it. Before the 2024 master plan is adopted, we ask the stakeholders and leadership in the community to reconsider the general business future land use designation and adopt an industrial designation for these parcels. If you have any further questions, I can be reached primarily through Brandy's been the point of contact. Be delighted to have any further discussion with any stakeholders and leaders in the community, and I appreciate your time.
Good evening. My name is Brendan Wood, and I'm a developer with NextAir Energy. With me, I have Taylor Christian, member of our community engagement team, and Patrick Myers, who's a strategy advisor for us. Now, NextAir Energy started as Florida Power and Light, so think DTE Consumers. It's a rate-regulated utility. Starting in the early 2000s, we got into energy, specifically renewable energy. Started in Florida, and now we are in 46 states. We've been in Michigan for over 10 years now, mostly in the Thumb and Sanilac, Huron, and Tuscola County. We have about 1 gigawatt of renewable energy projects in Michigan, which, just to put in scale, is the amount of power for 200,000 homes. So what separates our company from other developers is we build, own, and operate all our projects. We don't come in just to build a project, sell it. We truly partner with communities. If you look at some of the work we've done in the partnerships in the communities in the Thumb region, it's been a remarkable partnership. So why Eaton County? Well, Eaton County published an awesome zoning ordinance. We realized there's a lot of talk of the statewide siting. We've never worked with the state. We always work at the county and the township level. That's what we continue to do. We work hand in hand with the Planning and Zoning Committee and county commissioners. And given that you guys have an ordinance, this is an opportunity we think we could do and have a great partnership with. So I gave Brandy a bunch of my cards, and I'd love to reach out and talk with anyone who has questions or wants to talk strategy, and we feel like we could have a good partnership here. So I appreciate your time, and I'd love to interact with more of you guys at a later time. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak during public comments? Okay, we do not have any conditional use permits or DCAs tonight. We do not have any farmland preservation applications. Other business, review of the 22-23 Planning Commission Annual Report. Brandy, is that something you wanted to talk about, or?
Yeah, so the The Planning Commission's annual report is required by PA 110 of 2006 and PA 33 of 2008. The annual reports are included in your packets. We are a year behind, which is why you have 2 years to review. They kind of go through what has the Planning Commission done. I'm going to tell you it was a little difficult trying to make them look a little bit different as far as goals and strategies and whatnot for the upcoming year. But it goes through what the Planning Commission's done, what the Board of Appeals has done, what applications were approved, what applications were denied, and why. It goes through any policy changes that the Planning Commission may have enacted. And of course, you know, between 22 and 23, our goals have changed. Our goals for, that are set in the 2023 are, you know, hopefully we get our master plan adopted and we'll actually start working on those goals and objectives that were completely rewritten for the Planning Commission for the 2024 master plan. So, any questions?
I just have, I have one typo. that needs-
Absolutely.
On page 2, the second paragraph down,
Which one are we looking at, Lisa?
it's the same in both of them.
Perfect.
The second line of that second paragraph says, to prepare a report for the legislative body on the administrator and enforcement. I assume it's supposed to be administration.
Yep,
All right.
thank you. I will have that corrected before it is sent to the Board of Commissioners.
You need anything on that from us to acknowledge that we received it for the record, or?
It would be nice to have just a motion approving.
Move that we approve 22 and 23 annual reports.
Support.
A motion support, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Reports.
Included in your packet, as we discussed at our December meeting, is our department's Public Works and Planning report. You are receiving those every month now as well. That will give you a little bit more detail about what our department does, what the functions are, and how many enforcement cases we have open, how many have closed throughout the year, how many homes are being built, how many inspections, how many permits, things of that nature. And the first page is usually a synopsis of what occurred at the Planning Commission, the Construction Code Board of Appeals, the Zoning Board of Appeals. You'll see some information regarding the master plan update, the online permitting system, and things of that nature. So this will be a report that will start coming to the Planning Commission monthly.
Okay, any questions, staff?
Would it be okay if I touched on our two speakers really quick within the department reports?
Sure.
So Eric DeYoung has been kind enough to reach out, actually, just before the Board of Commissioners approved the master plan to be sent out for the 63-day review. He has been wonderful to communicate with. We attended a meeting together with the Carmel Township and Eaton Township supervisors to discuss the potential of planning the properties in the diagrams that he's given you as industrial rather than the current general business, which would be C2. Mr. Garrison, myself, and I believe Chairperson Ross will be attending the subsequent Carmel Township and Eaton Township meetings. The same process that we went through this past fall when we discussed with the townships about how they would like their future zoning of the property within their townships to look like. So the goal in going through the same process is that it will look the same and that the Planning Commission will have a good understanding from the townships of whether or not they want this property to be future planned for industrial or if they don't. The public hearing for the master plan has been scheduled for April 23rd at 6 p.m. That is not a mistake. That is more than the 63-day review staff and Chairman Ross chose to do that to allow a little bit of extra time to ensure that Mr. DeYoung was able to get all of his information out to the appropriate entities and stakeholders prior to a decision being made on the future plan for this property. And Brendan from, forgive me, Brendan, what is the name of your company again? Next Air Energy was kind enough to come in and meet with staff. We shared with him the Met Tower that went up in Roxanne Township in 2011, the company that installed that, so we could reach out and find the data findings from that. Staff gave him a stack of business cards, so as they go speak with potential landowners regarding putting wind turbines on their property, the landowners would have direct access to staff to ask questions regarding our zoning ordinance. So I expect that to be a wonderful partnership as well.
Okay. Zoning Ordinance Committee?
So many new things. The zoning ordinance committee, the planning commission will be hearing 2 district change amendment applications in March. One will be the broad update, changing the department name, and removing a lot of different titles for the development official. The development official is defined in Article 5 of the zoning ordinance, but throughout the zoning ordinance, it was the development land official, the zoning administrator, the director of community development. There was a lot of inconsistencies, so those have been corrected to all say the development official. There were a couple of public acts that were incorrect. PA 230 of 1972, which is the State of Michigan State Construction Code Act, was actually listed, I think, of PA 230 of 1976. So wrong year, wrong act. And I believe the Land Division Act had the wrong year for the final enactment on it. So those changes were also made in DCA 324-1. DCA 324-2 is a comprehensive amendment throughout the zoning ordinance that is a direct result of the conversations with the zoning ordinance committee. You will see that the zoning ordinance committee did hear a request from a property owner in Eaton County to allow for duplexes to be a use by right in low-density residential zoning. So that change has been made in Article 7 to remove the landscape requirements for communication towers, as the landscaping often doesn't serve the purpose of actually hiding the equipment or the tower. And the FCC actually requires those to be open vision areas for security. Removing the 5-year requirement for reapplication for surface mines. There are several mechanisms within our zoning ordinance that require an annual inspection, annual reporting from Eagle, and several mechanisms that allow for minor changes to the site plan to be reported to the Planning Commission. And if a mine operator is found in violation, there are several other mechanisms that do require them to come back to the Planning Commission for review, thus making that 5-year new conditional use permit unnecessary. There are a couple of other things. The zoning ordinance committee has decided that their agenda is going to be a living agenda, meaning once an item is placed on the agenda, it will remain on the agenda until it comes to either terms of a full DCA to be heard by the Planning Commission, or if it's something the zoning ordinance committee chooses to not take action on. Only at those 2 points will it be removed from their agenda. So I have a feeling you'll be hearing a lot of DCA text amendment applications. I believe this month we'll be working on agricultural businesses, parking, signage requirements, and potentially the number of outdoor parking allowed for a light automotive and small engine repair type business.
Any questions? Okay, Board of Appeals? There wasn't.
Correct. The Board of Appeals did not meet this evening as there was not any cases. They will be meeting next month to hear an interpretation application regarding marijuana facilities and where they may fit within existing land uses within the Eaton County zoning ordinance.
Okay. Any other public comments? Seeing none, upcoming cases?
You have a conditional use permit for the Narrow Lake Party Store. That's kind of exciting. They're proposing a new building. The two district change amendment applications that I discussed underneath the zoning ordinance committee.
One more thing before we adjourn. I think Brandy sent out something to everybody about, what committees that we're on and stuff. And I did not hear anything from anybody requesting changes. So, at this time, I'd like to leave them the same. Going pretty good right now. So I just wanted to thank everyone for that. And, are we gonna adjourn before our show?
We are going to adjourn, but could you introduce and welcome our new members?
Why don't you do that? You can explain how you talked to joining us.
I don't know that I talked him into it.
That's not what I heard when I talked to him earlier.
Maybe.
It was a lot more interesting.
Maybe I begged. No. I did. I provided the opportunity. Mr. Ed Kemp hails from down in the southwest portion of our county. I came upon him he was asking very intelligent and very necessary questions regarding planning and zoning functions and our zoning ordinance and what you could and couldn't do. And his questions led me to believe that he might be a good fit to serve on the planning commission. So I did ask to have him submit a citizen involvement application. So thank you for being on the planning commission and welcome. Mr. Ray Whitaker is so excited to be back on the planning commission. When the opportunity arose again, I did ask him if he'd be considered to submit a citizen involvement application, and he was more than happy to. So welcome and thank you.
Okay. I guess this time we adjourn.